Welcome to TOMMO'S Race CHINWAG, your favourite Formula 1 podcast, produced by a British biased bloke with a big forehead. Probably. Broadcast live on YouTube and after the fact on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have a good old natter about each and every Grand Prix of the season, before and after. So my name's Tommo, and without further ado, let's talk about it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Tommo, and welcome back to my race CHINWAG. Testing time. Let's have a chat about what's happened over the last 3 days. Welcome to everyone here on YouTube. John, Maximilian, Fishy, Joe, Henry, Candyman, Samuel, Tim, and the rest of you. Thank you to everyone on whatever platform you choose to consume these podcasts. We've had 3 days of running that suits me better, because honestly, like after day one, we were watching it and stuff happened, but you can't really read into anything. It's more just seeing these cars on track for the first time, what they actually look like, that's kind of interesting. But in terms of learnings, it's really hard. It's really hard to establish what is exactly going on. But as testing moves through into day two and then day three, I think we get a little bit more of an insight, and there's definitely some feelings, some, I guess, predictions beforehand have been, set in stone, right? McLaren were favourites going into this testing, and I think they're very much favourites coming out of this testing, but we will get onto it. Let's start talking about each day as a more general overview, and then we'll go team by team, okay? Is it laggy? Some of you, it's lagging a little bit. It says excellent connection here on YouTube. Excellent connection, and it's lagging. Game's the game. Also, I really need to shave my beard. Then I'm not. I made sure I wasn't going to shave over all the testing. I don't know why. I was just like, I'm not going to shave, and testing's done, and deliveries have done, and I'm still not shaved. Anyway, moving on. I'm not going to press F5. Don't try and do me like that. So, day one of testing, and I have made notes, okay? I have made notes. I don't often make notes, but I figure if we're going to talk about 3 days of testing, I want this to be your one-stop shop for a full testing overview experience. Then I should probably make notes, shouldn't I? I should probably make notes. Now, of course, day one, everyone's settling in. Lewis in his new car, but not only Lewis, and plenty of rookies knocking about. Okay, Gabriel Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, obviously Ollie and Liam. They do have races under their helmets, but it's still pretty new to them. And of course, Jack Doohan, he did do the final race of 2024 in Abu Dhabi, but still settling in, getting the cobwebs off, right? Everyone's been off. The neck's a week, right? The neck game ain't hitting like it does in December, right, for these F1 drivers. Anyway, you know what I mean. You definitely know what I mean. And so it takes a bit of time to get up to speed and get on top of everything. All right, it does. It takes a little bit of time. And I mean, to be fair, when I spoke to Liam, actually, I did ask him. It's not in the video, but I did ask him how many races does it get to how many races does it take for the neck to fully kind of adjust to it. And obviously he's done 11 Grand Prix, but it's been spread over 2 seasons. But he did say for him, it was about 4 or 5 Grand Prix until the neck wasn't really a pain after the race. Okay, so, I mean, Carlos did over 2 full Grand Prix worth of Bahrain Grand Prix worth of mileage on day 2, which, bless him. So fair enough, him sitting out day 3 and it just be a full Alex Albon today. But obviously starting off day 1, reliability in this day and age, reliability in F1 is off the charts. It's crazy, right? Almost we don't have the crazy. Hello, IBK. We don't have the craziness of. I don't know, what do we make actually? You know what? Live chat. First little poll. We're going to do quite a few polls in this one. What do you make of these cars being so reliable? Because it's not that long ago. I'm going to say it's better that. What do you think makes these cars being so reliable? It's better this way, indifferent, or it was better when they broke. Because many a title has been decided by complete unreliability just out of nowhere. And every single team on day one did over 100 laps of testing, bar Aston Martin, who had a couple of problems, but even they managed 88 laps. Now, you go back not that long ago and over 100 laps in day one of testing would have been incredible. So the fact that 9 out of the 10 teams did it, you got to say that, are these cars too reliable now? And you can't, how do you engineer, you kind of can engineer unreliability by enabling these teams to, up in the rev limit by, 500,000 RPM, the maximum rev limit might put a bit more stress and strain on the engines, might make them more likely to break. And you're almost pushing these teams in a way that, right, you dangle the carrot of performance, you dangle the carrot of potential victory, but it's like, do you dare go to that level? Because if you push it too far, if you take too many liberties, then your car will break down. And again, these cars are so bulletproof these days. We've not seen anyone just conk out all testing, right? There's been some issues, namely with Haas, and no one's been perfect. There's been various, Red Bull had some delays with Liam on day 2. Aston have had some issues. But in terms of cars conking out on track, it hasn't happened. So I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think? How's this poll looking? So what do you make of these cars being so reliable? 39% say it's better this way. 26%, 25% say are indifferent. 35% it was better when they broke. So you're pretty evenly spread, to be honest, across all three options. And certainly you can, definitely make the argument that, it's more meritocratic, right? A driver who's driven exceptionally well doesn't deserve to lose out because their car breaks down. But sport is inherently unpredictable, and so you get rid of that reliability prediction thing, right? You take that away as a component, and you do make a sport that needs to rely on. That's the thing, right? I think the fact that we're looking at, going into the start of this season where you've got 4 teams within a couple of tenths probably at the start of the year. If we didn't have that, then these cars being so reliable would be a bit of a pain. But the fact that we do have such a close competitive fight, I can accept these cars being reliable, even if, it's sometimes exciting when a car just randomly goes kaput out of nowhere, right? But it doesn't seem to be happening anymore because these cars are built very, very well. Now, of course, day one, again, you can't really read much into the times. Lando set the best time on the day. He was about 10th and a half clear of George Russell. And Lando set his quick time in less preferential conditions earlier on than George did. Max was 3rd. So certainly after day one, it felt ominous amongst the Pines towards McLaren, who again went into the season seemingly as, from a car point of view, you can definitely make arguments against, from a driver point of view, not so much against Lando and Oscar, but, propping up Charles and Lewis and Max and George. But yeah, McLaren definitely carrying some kind of sense of an advantage outside of day one, okay? And then everything just went kaput, didn't it? I talk about unreliability. Well, unfortunately, the only thing that was unreliable on day one was Bahrain itself, the track, that is, because they had a power cut, which was not ideal, but it did just extend the session back a bit. So, look, I'll be honest, I'll put my hands up. Have I watched every single second of testing? No. Have I watched most of testing? Yes. Have I watched most of testing not live using YouTube? Yes. I've not watched most of it live because of course I haven't, okay? But you know what? Testing has been actually really good to just have on while I've been doing my liveries, okay? I know I've done most of my liveries before testing started, but when testing's been on, it's actually been nice. Just one screen, you can have you there, and I'm doing my little livery there. Lovely, jubbly, okay? It works a treat. I've had a decent little setup, okay? I've enjoyed it. Day one, obviously, we had a couple of spins, Liam and Isaac. But other than that, it was pretty clean on track. Haas were just doing long runs. They were doing their own thing, so they were miles off the back. That's what they did last year, because, of course, last year, they were desperately trying to fix the tyre deg issues that they had in 2023, because in 23 they had exceptional one-lap pace, relatively speaking, and would just fall off an absolute cliff in the race. So it worked for them in pre-season testing in 24, and they've done the same in 25. Also, Nico Hülkenberg had a really weird, he got a splinter in his eye. I think someone was doing something in the Sauber garage, I don't know, with a circular saw or something, and a splinter went in his eye. Fortunately, he's all right, but that kind of cut things a bit short. And that was Sauber have not looked good, okay? I know they ended last year a little better, not the absolute worst at the end of last year. But things have not gone particularly well for Sauber in this test, which I can't say I'm surprised. But there is time for things to change, I guess. I hope for them, because it's not been great. So that's day one. Day two, rain in Bahrain. Who put the rain in Bahrain? I'm sure that joke's been made many a time. And we got a lot of long runs on day two. This was the first full race distance for Antonelli, for Hadjar as well, in terms of an extended period of time driving the car, which would have been a challenge for the youngsters. And again, Carlos, 127 laps, which is 2.2 Bahrain Grand Prix. 127 laps in a day for Carlos. They're putting him to work. They're putting old Vamos to work, aren't they? They've paid the bag for him. James Vowles is right, Carlos, you've given us faith. Now get in the car. Get in the car, Carlos, and do 127 laps. But look, things are looking. I don't want to get ahead of myself, because I've the only thing I want this year is Alex to hold his own against Carlos, right? But seeing that Williams team not be terrible and actually be somewhat competitive towards the front of the midfield, which it feels like they're going to be, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. And also, we saw a little bit of contact, didn't we? Nico Hülkenberg, Oscar Piastri. It was a bit weird because Hülkenberg was kind of dawdling a bit. Oscar went down the inside, but then Oscar maybe it's because there was a bit of dirty air or whatever, and he was kind of carrying a bit too much, and he went a bit wide, and Hülkenberg thought he'd have been tighter, and they had a little bit of contact. But that was basically it in terms of drama on day two. But yeah, it was a bit rain affected, because not many teams brought inters and wets, and it was just, rain in Bahrain. Not what you expect, but here we are. And thank you, Hunter, by the way, for the super chat. Sauber slow, but hey, at least it looks good, right? Well, the renders look good. The renders look fantastic. Unbelievable. Why are you putting a gradient on your car if you can't actually do the gradient? Just don't do it then. Just, if you can't do it, fine. Just don't do it properly. And it's just matte, and it just doesn't even pop. It's meant to be bright green, for crying out loud, Sauber. Mugged me right off. But you know what? Look, that's the thing, right? When you put your sporting opinions on the internet for the world to scrutinise, then sometimes you look like a bit of a knobhead. So you can't win them all. You can't win them all. Gloomy. Williams dominance inbound. We'll see about that. And Sploder, thank you for your super chat as well. Ferrari will regret letting go of King Carlos. Will they regret letting go of Carlos? I think regret's a strong word. I think that Lewis needs to. I don't see them regretting it, to be honest. I mean, unless Williams end up quicker than Ferrari and Carlos is the one delivering. That's maybe one way they might regret letting go. I don't agree, Sploder. I think Lewis will get to a stage where he's at least as good as Carlos was in that car by the end of his first season, start of his second. But maybe they will. I mean, they had a very sure thing, and I said, Ferrari's driver pairing with Charles and Carlos was the strongest, I think, on the grid in terms of their competitiveness relative to one another. The fact that Charles definitely did have the edge on Carlos, but also Carlos could more than hold his own against Charles. And the fact that, generally speaking, they were able to have that close proximity, but still keep it relatively quite clean. From that point of view, breaking up the best driver pairing in F1, but then it's Lewis Hamilton, and there's a lot that comes with Lewis. There's a lot of experience, there's a lot of talent, clearly, and there's a lot outside the car as well that Lewis brings to the fore. So I'm not sure if I agree, but You could be right. You could be right. We might look back at this and think, wow, they really did drop the Vamos, and James Vowles came in clutch. Unbelievable. I mean, that's what Vowles does. That's what Vowlesy does, eh? What else on day two? Not a huge amount. It's, again, more long run in day two, so it's a bit more rain affected. Again, we'll go team by team. Let's talk about day three. A bus on the track. Apparently, the bus just driving on the track, smashed glass on the track. Pinnacle of motorsport, you say? And then Haas had just the blowout on the side of the car. Ollie didn't realise, kept going. Like, hang on, mate, you got a big gaping hole in the side of your car. Second time that's happened to Haas, because that happened to Ocon. In one of the... Did that happen to Ocon in the Abu Dhabi 24 post-season test? It did happen to Ocon, didn't it? I can't remember. I think it was then. So not ideal. Okay, bit chaotic today. And I think just across the 3 days, the weather has been super inconsistent, which has made it harder for the teams to be able to kind of measure things. And I mean, look, these conditions are not representative of what Bahrain will be like in April when we go back there for its actual Grand Prix. And they won't be representative to Australia as well. So actually, like, the teams are learning what they can, but it kind of makes Australia a bit more chaotic because we're not doing testing at the same track we're having the season opener. And also these conditions have just been a bit crazy in Bahrain. Very windy, bit of rain, bit cold by Bahrain standards. 15 degrees is not cold if you're from England, but it is if you're Bahrain. I'm sure it feels cold, 15 degrees. Much colder in Bahrain than 15 degrees does over here. But yeah, it was a bit of a weird day today. Max had a spin at turn one as well and did a nice little drift out of it. You know, just because you go turn one, little lazy spin. He wasn't the only one, and then you come out of it. Really nice, really aesthetic, that little drift from Max. I like that. And George ended up fastest in the end. However, you got to say, George might have been fastest in the end. But McLaren, certainly the ominous team of what you hear from within the paddock, right? And having consumed as much as I can of the insight from your Autosports and your races and all this, right? The consensus seems to be that McLaren are the ones leading the way in terms of hype, in terms of intrigue going into this year. Right, who should we start with? We'll go team by team. Actually, you know what? No, we'll go in reverse order of championship from last year. I'm going to make my own decisions here, all right? Because this is my swamp, okay? There's a new Shrek coming out, isn't there? There's a new Shrek coming out, and they've changed his face. Like, why would you do that? Why? What's wrong? Why? Who's it makes Shrek? Is it? It's not. No. Is it Pixar? No, it's not Pixar. It's DreamWorks. Who makes Shrek? I can't remember. Why would you change Shrek's face? Shrek's face is so iconic. Let's not talk about it. Yeah, it's DreamWorks. Okay, second choice. Well, there's a new Shrek coming, and they've changed Shrek's face. Go have a look at it. All right. Don't worry. Don't watch this stream. Why are you watching it? Go look at Shrek's face. That's way more important. Right. Talking of Shrek, I guess we'll go with the green Shrek Formula One car, the Sauber. Not a huge amount to say, honestly. Not a huge amount to say. Again, the consensus seems to be that they're not looking particularly great. Of course, Gabriel Bortoleto getting his first miles, first significant, serious mileage in that Sauber. So that's good to see. But Hulkenberg didn't seem particularly satisfied. It is a step back in terms of car relative to what he had last year at Haas. The livery is annoying because it's matte and it could have been so great, and it is not, which is a shame. Also, it looks better with the kick sponsor on it anyway. And, has it been delayed due to blowback? Well, there you go. Shrek fans got their way. And what were DreamWorks thinking? Anyway, whatever. What was Sauber thinking? Even bothering, right? There was that little bit of momentum, wasn't there, at the end of last year when Joe managed to score his points. And was it Vegas they bought that upgrade, and they actually weren't the worst car at the end of the season. But it's all a relative game, right? They may have taken a step forward there, But if everyone else has taken a step forward at the start of this season and they have not, then they're going to be last again. So you got to hope that, Audi are going to throw the bank account at it. They're obviously opening their UK base to try and get a bit more of the pre-existing talent who aren't prepared to move to Hinwil, and get them on board as well. I suppose that's the way. I mean, it's a shame that I get it, but it's a shame. Like, at least open up an engineering base in Ingolstadt, right? Because I feel like you could get talent to go to Germany for sure. Yeah, not great. No massive surprises. Not a huge amount. Like, I've not seen a lot of information around Sauber because I just don't think there's a lot to shout about, unfortunately, with the Shrek machine. So it looks better than the new Shrek, I think. I know none of you like the livery, and I don't. It's very disappointing, but the livery's not terrible. It's just way worse than it could have been. Okay, that's the L. That's as much of the L as I'm prepared to take on that one, Seamus. Okay, that's it. And they have new wheel guns. Yes, Helita, they have new wheel guns with LEDs on the wheels. So when it's ready, it changes colour. Bosh. Pretty smart. And the new Shrek is a crime. See, Gloomy knows. Gloom is on board. We're not going to look at Sauber anymore because it's just disappointing. And I hope they're not as washed this year as they were last. Williams. Now, the unwashing of Williams. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And very exciting as a Alex Albon fan, of course. And as a lover of Carlos Sainz. I think he's fantastic. I do have a lot of time for Carlos and this iconic team that's been around for a long time. The livery may have disappointed me. Okay, I think the reverse gradient would have been better, and that's what I did in my redesign. Make sure you watch my Williams redesign. Oh yeah, Jay Jensen, well done. You've won the cap, and you've already reached out an email, so appreciate it. I'll get that sent to you promptly. But yeah, Williams look like they're in a really good place, actually. And look, I don't think headline time Carlos going quickest on day 2 means they're the quickest car all of a sudden, but they do look like they're going to be in that fight for 5th, 6th quickest team out the gates. And you've got 2 very, very capable drivers. We know how capable Carlos Sainz is. I think we will see how capable Alex Albon is this year. We don't know. I'm not saying that we know, but I think we'll see that this year. And with a car that, Pat Fry's had now time to get his feet fully under the table at Williams after leaving Alpine and clearly create something that has moved significantly forward from where it was this time last year. And even at the end of last season, right? And again, those 2 drivers in a decent car, they both seem to want the same things from the car as well. Do Carlos and Alex, like in terms of their feedback, in terms of what they need from the machine, which is always going to help, and that's been the problem for the longest time for Red Bull with Max and whoever's been his teammate, because Max wants one thing and the other driver wants something that isn't that, okay? But if you've got 2 drivers singing from the same hymn sheet, then things should be looking good. So, yeah, you got to say that Williams points, because look, if you've got top 4 teams, right, which it looks like we do have a top 4 teams again, Aston Martin were consistently that 5th quickest team at the start of last year, and that's what brought them. I mean, you say Red Bull had a strong start to last year. Aston Martin, relatively speaking, had the strongest start to last year versus where they actually ended up, and they held on to P5 just. Williams, I think, are going to come out the gates quick again this year. And as a lot of teams are going to look to transfer their focus to 2026, I think Williams could really be in a strong place to get P5, get that prize money. Not so much ATR, but I think for a team like Williams, who is still growing, still have a brown door. Williams. Right, hang on. Williams, why do you still have a brown door? Why do Williams still have a brown door, everyone? Like, why do they have a brown door? You see Lewis, right? Lewis is like, Ferrari F40's there. Right, nice. Vibes. Off the charts. Carlos Sainz, selfie, brown door. No. Just get the paint out. Get the Dulux out, mate. Right? Slap it on. Why do you have a brown door? What do you... Right. Ojas doesn't know right. And let me Carlos Sainz. Carlos... I need to find a picture of this brown door. Heavy brown door. I don't know why I'm searching brown door. Where is it? It's not... Selfie. Carlos Sainz selfie. Selfie Williams. Right, come on. There we go. Right, okay. Here we go. Right, let's save this. Save you onto my downloads. I'll save it as brown door. Okay. I just forgot how much this annoys me that they have a brown door. Right. Why? Why do they have this brown door? This brown door right here. Right behind Carlos. So you've got the blue surround, and then the brown door. No. It's time to stop. Brown door. Williams with your brown door. Come on. All this DeRilt money, you've still got a brown door. No, I'm sorry. I'm not having it. I'm on the wrong scene. Right. Anyway, I need to recompose myself. I'm here. I'm live in front of 876 people, so I need to calm down. I think maybe it's just me, Aiden, but it's not a perfect door, Seamus. All right. It's the most... It's just the least inspiring to go from Enzo Ferrari's gaff in Fiorano, right, to brown door in Grove in Oxfordshire. No, it did not pass the vibe check. Okay, it just enough. Other than the brown door, things are looking very, very promising for Williams. So I'm very, very excited to see how this pans out. And I'm very, very excited for Alex Albon to be close to Carlos all year. And then I'll be very smug because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I've already committed. So I can't, I have to, no, but I do genuinely believe that Alex will be close to Carlos all season. That's not just me coping, okay? And if it doesn't happen, then you know what? You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Right, next team, Racing Bulls. Another team that we've not really seen a huge amount to get excited from. You can see, obviously, they take the maximum that they can from Red Bull. They've got their new facility that's opened up on Red Bull headquarters in Milton Keynes. But they're still just... I mean, I predicted them to be last, and this was before testing. And obviously, Sauber are always going to put themselves in contention for that. But, you know, with Sonoda and Hajar at the wheel, do I feel like there's a lot to be excited about for Racing Bulls? I do not. Apart from the livery slaps. Of course it does. Yuki has a change of management as well. He's felt a change is needed, and that's interesting. Obviously, for this year, and you know, how much his connection to Honda is going to help or hinder him. I think maybe he needs to take control of his own career and be like, well, if that means that I say bye to Honda and they stay at Aston Martin and I go somewhere else, then maybe that's the way forward, right? Cadillac could be an opportunity for him. But yeah, I mean, Hajar, again, first full race run for him on day 2. We'll see. I really don't have much. Even after 3 days of testing, Racing Bulls don't feel like they have the strongest of packages. It feels like Racing Bulls and Sauber are probably going to be the 2 weakest teams. It's hard to analyse Haas because they were doing a lot of long runs, but you look at Haas's pace last year and it's definitely stronger than Racing Bulls and definitely stronger than Sauber. So as much as the car looks great, I haven't seen anything in testing in these 3 days to give me any hope that they've made a step forward. Like, say, Williams, I think have quite clearly made a big and decent step forward. So I hope for more, because I want to see Yuki fall on his feet somewhere else for 26. And look, hopefully Hajar comes in and gives a good account of himself. But also, you've got to know Arvid Lindblad is waiting in the wings, and we know Red Bull have a lot of belief in Arvid. But obviously, if they can't give, that's the problem, right? Kind of saw this with Joe and Bottas last year. If you can't be given the car to even show what you can do, then teams are going to be more likely to be like, oh yeah, we can just get shot of them, It's hard. He's gone from anger management to contract management, Seamus. It's very good. It's very good. I like that. And I hope Yuki finds a way, because he's a very talented young man. Very, very talented kid is Yuki Tsunoda. And he deserves an opportunity, but there's many a driver who's deserved a good opportunity to succeed and thrive in the sport and have not been given it. So time will tell on that front. But honestly, in my notes, racing balls, I've really not got much here. I've really got not got much here at all. They're a way off their older sibling, that's for sure. Right, Haas again. Yeah, I think both drivers, they said they felt like versus 2024, the car that they, Ocon tested in the 2024 Abu Dhabi test, and Ollie raced in a couple of times last year. This is a step forward for sure, and they've, Komatsu, I think, comes across as a very pragmatic, focuses in the right areas and is moving that car forwards. I think that there's been a couple of issues with bodywork, which is not ideal. Not quite sure how that happens. I've not seen... Has anyone seen a breakdown of why Haas believe they had the bodywork blowout twice now in, once at the end of last year and once at the start of this year? Are they building panels to too kind of finer tolerance? And, the lighter you can make components, the more fragile they can potentially be. I've not seen anything. I don't think some lamination issues maybe, perhaps. Could be a quality issue. Because obviously if the carbon fibre is delaminating at speed, then obviously the air passing over the car it's not going to take much to break something. And we've seen this before with teams where panels can just rip themselves off. Again, the lighter you can make these cars, the quicker they're going to be, but also the more susceptible they are going to be to stuff like this. So we'll see. You've riveted head. You've caught a live. You have indeed. And I think, look, I do think Haas have a really good car underneath them that they know, and Haas have not been ones to throw upgrades at their F1 car, right? This has been the case for a while now for Haas. They would rather stick to what they know and just learn and maximise the packages that they have. And I think that's been a product of them being a small team, who don't have the big budget of the bigger teams. But as they start operating at the cost cap, which I think they are now. Am I still live? My YouTube studio has just gone a bit weird. I hope I'm still live. And that would be really annoying if I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm still live. I don't know. I'm just going to carry on. And hopefully Haas have found a way to now invest that budget cap. Yeah, sorry, my YouTube screen just went boop. It just went off and whatever. I'm here. I'm still live. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully they found a way to move forward through the pack. Toyota Haas Racing for 2026, surely. Surely, Toyota. Come on. You got to get it done, right? You got to get it done. Don't listen to him. You're not live. That's right. You got me, Seamus. Lots of long running, learning from last year, applying it again. A lot of unknowns. Esteban and Ollie seem pretty satisfied. I think also, even if Esteban wasn't satisfied, he probably wouldn't be vocalising it that much. And also Ollie's kind of, this is his first season at this team in terms of from start to finish. So we'll see. Who's my barber? Mate, I need a trim. This is like, I've not had a trim for ages. This is not an aspirational haircut right now. Kyle? I'm not sure how I pronounce that, but thank you. I appreciate that. Team, a bit more to talk about here. Alpine, I'm pretty excited about Alpine, because you look at their end of 2024, considerably better than their start of 2024, right? This time last year, they were massively overweight. It was pretty much all carbon, the car. And it just looked like an absolute dumpster fire, to be honest, at Alpine. David Sanchez came in, brought an upgrade mid-season, which seemed to turn the team's fortunes around, and this is his first car that he's starting on from kind of day dot. Let him cook. Let David Sanchez cook. And I think this car's in a really good position. Gasly has been driving phenomenally well as of late. Obviously, there's question marks about Doohan and that second car, and there's going to be question marks, but I think Doohan's a very capable driver. I really do. And I really hope he gets the opportunity to show what he can do. And if he's not good enough, then fair enough, replace him with Colapinto. But give him the shot, I think. I think he can make the most of it. I really do. I hope. That's belief there. Okay, I don't know, but there's belief. I think Colapinto has already shown it. That's the thing. He's already shown he's capable. But we'll see. Pierre was punching in some great times on day 3. I didn't see any mistakes from Jack either. Like I feel like Alpine are onto a good thing here. They are. They're onto a good thing. Alpine. Alonso to Alpine. Do you reckon? You just go back. I mean, look, there's been a lot of scrutiny, a lot of pressure on Doohan. All he can do is Hun. Didn't really work, did it? All he can do is his best and try and meet Gasly where he's at. Now, Gasly's very, very good, okay? You look at what he did to Yuki Tsunoda back in 2021, right? That was a long time ago, right? Gasly was experienced then. He was the experienced guy in 2021. He's even more experienced now. Gasly's in his prime years, just as Albon and Sainz and these guys, they're in their prime years as well. And it is an exceptional helmet delivery matchup. I agree with that, Rivethead. Time will tell whether Jack gets the time or not. We saw in the Drive to Survive trailer, which dropped earlier today, a little snippet of Flavio talking to Jack. And I think it's episode 9. They're trying to kind of lean into a bit of a Haas Alpine, I want to say, rivalry. We know Drive to Survive kind of that they will take a multi-car battle and they'll kind of try and focus in on 2 to build a kind of exciting narrative. I get why they do it. But it's whatever. I'm enjoying Full Swing right now, to be honest. Hannah loves Full Swing. I think Han likes Full Swing more than she likes Drive to Survive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Han, but I think you do. And but yeah, Alpine looking good. The car looking fantastic. Better on track. Those night shots when it was getting dark in Bahrain, geez, that blue, c'est magnifique, elle est le bleu. Yeah, that was a very emergency. That was a very questionable quote from Flavio, but that's what he said. Yeah, Alpine, quietly optimistic. I think them and Williams are going to be battling head to head for quite a bit of this year. I think that's going to go down to the wire as well. I think obviously Williams have the driver advantage in terms of Albon and Sainz over Gasly and Doohan, but we'll see. Aston Martin. Look, predicted in my, I predicted them 8th in the constructors in my preseason predictions before testing, and after testing, I feel pretty satisfied with that prediction because Aston be farting. Exactly. Aston be farting. Yeah, it's not looked great, has it? It's not looked good. Obviously, Lance was a bit ill today, so he had to miss out on a lot of his running, which is obviously a shame for him. Fernando had to fill in. I thought they might have put Felipe in the car, but no, they didn't. They gave the rookie Fernando Alonso, the youngster, go on, you do the rest of the day, Fernando. You've got it in your son, right? Look, both drivers said the car's a step... Well, no, Fernando, said the car is a step forward from 2024. But again, this is a relative game, Formula 1, right? So, yes, it should be a step forward from 2024. And obviously, you've got Andy Cowell come in. You've got the movement, Mike Cracker's move position, and you've got all these different pieces. And Rico Cardelli, he's still not even started yet. I thought he was going to start at the start of this year, but apparently they've still not actually negotiated his way out of Ferrari yet, in terms of like gardening leave and stuff like that. I thought he'd already started, but then I read an article today saying he still hasn't started yet, Enrico Cardelli. And he's like meant to be the new top, like obviously Adrian Newey's like he's part owner, blah blah blah, but like Enrico Cardelli is like new like technical director. So I don't know. Fernando, I said this in my preseason prediction, just like get the ATR, right? Get the ATR. If you're going to be washed, just do it properly and just be proper washed. So maximise your ATR, Aston Martin. You've got the bag. Honda engine. Give Fernando the car to win his third world title in 2026, and then he can retire and you can come in. Or Max can come in. Max can come in then, right? Surely. Wheel covers are cool at least. Jensen, you might have won the Williams cap, but I don't know about them wheel covers, mate. I'm not agreeing with you on that one. Yeah, like, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, Brev. With Alpine and Williams making the step forwards they have, I feel like Aston, Haas, Racing Bulls. I feel like it's like Sauber Racing Bulls, Aston, Haas, Williams, Alpine. That's kind of the brackets that I'm seeing these teams in right now. So, yeah, not much more to say about Aston Martin than that. Now, top 4 time, start with Mercedes, as they were P4 in the Constructors' Championship last year. George was very happy after day one. Day one looked strong. Now, of course, the Mercedes comes alive in the cold, okay? And this was relatively very cold temperature for Bahrain. So, big pinch of salt with that. Big pinch of salt with that impressive first day for Mercedes. But George was very happy with the car. So what he said, the best the Mercedes has ever felt since around Bahrain. But again, it's never been this cold around Bahrain before, has it? So they don't have to worry about the overheating of their tyres, which they usually do. Hence why they cooked. They don't usually cook their tyres, but bad cook, right? It was good cook in Vegas last year when it was freezing. So the Baltic conditions work with the Mercedes, and they still seemingly haven't got on top of that. Their tyre deg in the long runs didn't seem to be particularly good, especially compared to how impressive McLaren's was. And look, I think Antonelli, quick, like a bit rough around the edges, but of course he is. He's 18 and he's a rookie, but quick. So I think this bodes well. I think Antonelli had a very good test. I think he's kept it out of the wall, as did everyone. And I think he's going to be very good. I mean, look, he's got this seat at his age for a reason, right? His junior record is unbelievable. And I think he's doing what he needs to do. If he can just be quick, that's all he needs to worry about this year. Just be quick. If he's a bit crashy, okay, if it's a bit inconsistent, it's fine. Just be quick. Have those peaks. Show Mercedes that, damn, on his day, he can out-qualify George Russell, right? If he can do that this year, Antonelli, if he can get a few quali dubs over George, which, looking at his CV, all right, going into this, I think is absolutely possible. That's all Mercedes can ask for. That is really all Mercedes can ask for. And I think what we saw today, decent. The fake cooling ducts. Yeah, apparently this you can see a little kind of dark. Well, we saw last year, didn't they? The little like hump on the Williams, and obviously the anti-dive, the pursuit of anti-dive to keep the car as flat and level into the braking zones as possible, because if you brake, the front of the car is going to want to pitch forward, but that's not good for the aero balance of the car. So you have anti-dive suspension to resist that, and there is this like fake cooling duct that they're claiming is a cooling duct, but actually maybe it's positioned in such a way that it's also right where the suspension enters the car on the side. So that remains to be seen. Like I think Mercedes ultimately in one lap pace and in short stints, Mercedes can be as quick as anyone. It's those longer stints in the more warm conditions, those races, they're really going to struggle unless they can find a way to get on top of this tyre overheating. That seems to be where Mercedes reside right now, which is basically where they were last year. But again, I think that you've got this top four still. I think Alpine and Williams leading the charge from the midfield, they will be closer to the top four than the rest were to the top four last year, because we're converging top to bottom. And I mean, you saw how many top cars got knocked out in Q1 and Q2 last year. It's going to happen again in 25, and I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. But yes, Mercedes, all in all, decent. I think flattered by the cold. Still work to do, but Kimi looks good. And George, we know he's got the minerals in him, George. Mercedes just, I'm not quite sure. I think Mercedes would need another year to be able to give him the car to fight for a championship, and I don't think they're quite going to get this car to him in time. If the new regs were coming in 27, then I'd say maybe 26 George Russell title fight, but I feel like this is going to be a little bit too late, in my opinion. Also, before we carry on, enjoying the podcast, please drop a like, a 5-star rating, a comment, however you want to engage. It really does help push it out to the world and stop the AI onslaught, right? Because I am a real human being. Well, that's what an AI version of myself would tell you to think anyway. So keep you guessing. If you're enjoying it, give some love. I appreciate it. Thank you. Now back to live Tommo. See, doing it like this means I can take a little bit of a break, right? I can have a little drink. And I don't have to tell you lot to like and subscribe. Oh, look, it's Minton. Minton, do you want to come on stream? Minton, come here. Come here. Yes, here he is. Here he is. The sausage has entered the building. Oh, here he is. Worth the ad break. Yeah, there we go. See, that's what you get when you like and subscribe. Minton arrives. That's literally what just happened, okay? I reminded you to like and subscribe, and Minton appeared. Well, there you go. What better reason is there to like and subscribe? Hey, look, oh, you're very warm. He's very warm today. He's very, very warm today, aren't you, Minton? Right, shall we talk about Red Bull? Do you think we should talk about the next team in this list, which is Red Bull Racing? I think we should, shouldn't we? Right, Red Bull, I'll move over a little bit so you get good Minton in the frame. Just don't want to... There we go, posh. This is a little shot of Max doing his little burnout, by the way, which I thought was very cool. I enjoyed that a lot. So... The approach Red Bull seemed to have taken, because we saw this car come out in day one of testing and we're like, well, hang on, it looks exactly the same as the car last year. The RB21 looks the same as the RB20. It seems that the plan is to make what already was a strong base a car that had high peaks but was very inconsistent and hard to reach those peaks and very difficult to drive. And we saw that really, hurt Checo and even Max at times last year, to make this car more predictable. No massive changes. Believe in the ceiling of the car you had before, add a bit of performance with these flexible wings that Red Bull weren't really exploiting as much as the other teams until Spain anyway, and go from there. Now, they did make a nose change on the final day. You'll notice like this picture is taken from today, and that nose is a lot wider and there's a slot gap underneath as well. They still seem to be struggling with like this inherent kind of mid-corner understeer, the Red Bull, but it just feels like a modification. They've not done anything crazy. They have changed a lot, but just small changes to a lot of parts rather than big revisions to any specific components. And I think the impression that Liam's left, especially after his kind of first couple of days in terms of feedback-wise, seemed to be pretty positive. And look, this is what he needs to do. He needs to embed himself into that team. He needs to show that he's not just going to be another Gasly, another Albon, another Perez, that he can actually learn from what they didn't do right. And Red Bull, vice versa, can learn how to... Because you win Constructors' Championships, which is important to these teams, with two drivers firing all cylinders, and they haven't had this for the longest time. So... he's looking pretty good, I think, from Leon. He obviously lost time on day 2 with a car issue, had his little spin on day 1 as well. But all in all, I think Liam's settled in pretty well. I saw a quote from Pierre Wachet, who's technical director at Red Bull, after day 3, sounding a bit apprehensive. He was saying it was not as smooth a test as we expected, and that the overall potential of the car has been lowered, but... he's done that. They've done that in order to try and be able to extract more of that performance, right? Because I know, was it last year? I think Fernando Alonso was saying, sometimes these cars are actually quicker. If you, you're right, mate. That nose right in my face. Sometimes these cars are quicker if you drive them at 90% than 100%, because as soon as you get close to that limit, things start to fall apart a little bit. Oh yeah, wow, Minton's timing. Very good, Hannah. okay, buddy? You okay? You seem pretty comfortable up here. You can get ants in your pants, I'll put you down, but I'll just hold you with my arm. So yeah, look, I think that it's going to be a big ask for Red Bull to honestly catch McLaren, because it feels like McLaren are carrying now a pretty decent car advantage. Red Bull are not going to want to throw loads of resource at this year because 26 is huge, and of course, you know, they're developing their own engine for the first time ever, so that's a big jump into the unknown, whereas McLaren are carrying their Mercedes deal over. Am I boring you, Minton? So, yeah, I think this is going to be a real uphill battle for Max to win this championship, to be honest, because this car, if they're gonna potentially be lowering the performance ceiling to make it more drivable, I don't know. It's really hard to predict. And a lot of these long runs that look quite impressive, we didn't really see Max in kind of comparable circumstances. So yeah, I'm not sure. I am not sure, to be honest. Yes, I did see Max give the bird down the pit lane to the Williams pit wall. I think that was because, do you want to go down, man? I think it was because there was some Williams personnel trying to take pictures of the Red Bull, and so he was like, he just gave him one of them, like, have one of them, son. Oh, you're so cute. You distracting the podcast, but it's a welcome distraction. Come on, you're 54 minutes in. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube and you're 54 minutes in, go write a comment saying Minton is impeccable, incredible. Just come up with an adjective to describe this incredible dog. Wow. You want to go in bed? Go on. There you go. Or do you just want to go? Do you want to go out? Have you had enough? Go on. He's had his 15 minutes of fame. He's done for the day. He's resplendent. That's a good word. Beloved, yeah, I like it. But yes, Red Bull. Let's see, okay? I appreciate, I think it is the smart thing to look at what they had last year and be like, you know what? The way we move forward is almost by taking a step back. One step back, two steps forward, right? And almost take the Haas approach of like really understanding what you already have, not making any big crazy changes, and just trying to maximize what you've already got. So fair play, Red Bull. I think that's probably the smart thing to do. And look, hopefully, Liam can cook and make up for that second driver shortfall that they've had for many a year. And go and watch my video with Liam Lawson. I filmed a video with Liam Lawson. Go and watch it after you're done with this. We did his Dream F1 team. And I designed livery for him. And I think it's pretty sick, to be honest. And I think most of you seem to like it as well. Right, 2 more teams to go. Scuderia Ferrari. Let's start on the Red Boys. Now, Lewis seems to be settling in quite well. Day 1, day 2 seemed pretty satisfied. Very positive, seems to have this new lease of life, which I'm not surprised came with, you know, that time at Mercedes had to end when it did. Also, that Time magazine article, there's a few quotes in that Time magazine article where I'm like, damn, Lewis, like, fair play. Doesn't sound like the Lewis but you know what? There's a few of them quotes that sound like Lewis back in his like early era when he was a lot more, what's the word? Like, when he was on Twitter and he was like just doing he was like posting Jensen Button's telemetry, or like he was doing like, what was it, a video where he's like, I've got so many clothes. Like that era of Lewis would have said the things that he said in this article, and it's like high ego stuff, but like that's what I think. That's great. Honestly, I think that's great. I think back yourself, Lewis. Like, take no prisoners. I kind of like, I do like this Lewis Hamilton, because we've seen him in the past where he's a bit more like, come on in, I'm Lewis Hamilton. I don't know what that accent is, but yeah, I thought that was great to see. Unfortunately, this third day of, a lot less Mercedes. That's a good way of putting it, James. I think Mercedes kind of PR'd him into the Lewis we know now, and I think Ferrari maybe let that passion get to him a bit, which is good. But anyway, third and final day wasn't so good for Lewis. It was a bit disappointing, but look, it's testing. That's what it's here for. I would say, I think Lewis is going to struggle relative to Charles at the start of the season. As the season goes on, he'll get more and more settled. And one lap pace is going to be a thing. Of course, it's a qualifying formula more than ever now, because these cars, as they add more and more aerodynamic performance, they create more and more dirty air, which makes it harder and harder to overtake. And as these gaps between teams are smaller, qualifying is going to be huge, okay? Talking of qualifying, they've mandated a two-stop at Monaco. What have I been saying for years? Mandate a two-stop at Monaco and you will make it better. We're now getting it. And if it doesn't make it better, then the size of the egg on my face will be ungodly, okay? And I think I've also developed a bit of an intolerance to egg, because sometimes when I eat egg, I just need to throw up. It's happened 3 times in the last year. So not every time I eat it, but sometimes I just need to be sick, which is lovely. But either way, I hope it helps. I really think it will. But if it doesn't, then that was a weird place to join the stream, wasn't it, Michael? It was. Wow, Michael, look, listen, that's what happens. When 57 minutes into a stream, that's how unhinged they get, okay? So I can't apologise, because this is what happens. We're just getting old. Maybe that, Halita. Maybe we are just getting old. But yeah, Lewis, all in all, a bit of a mixed bag, but I think generally more positive than negative, I would say, in terms of Lewis. Long run degradation for Charles in his long run. That one where it was the race kind of matched it. It's 31 seconds behind Lando was Charles. Long race run. Obviously, we don't know fuel loads. We don't know engine maps. The normal caveat with everything with testing. I feel like coming out of testing, McLaren do definitely feel like the favourites. I think going into testing, there was a bit more, maybe it could be McLaren/Ferrari. But I think now McLaren seem to have established that they definitely had a stronger test than Ferrari. I think that's very, very fair to say, did McLaren. So work to do for Ferrari, because we know this championship's important to them, the constructors and drivers, right? If they can, this is a clear and obvious opportunity to both teams as well, right? To win Ferrari haven't won a driver's title since 2008. McLaren haven't won a driver's title since 2000. Sorry, Ferrari haven't won one since 2007. McLaren haven't won one since 2008, right? So it's been an awful long time for both of these teams to win a drivers' championship. McLaren got the constructors last year, got that dub ticked off. McLaren drivers, Ferrari constructors, but then Oscar and Lando are both going to cook, I think. So, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I ain't got a Scooby. And that's what makes this so great. Alex Jakes, Alex Brundle, and Tomo commentating and testing would be elite, do you reckon? Yeah, to be fair, testing, I reckon I could commentate testing, because it's just most of it you're just waffling, and that's basically what you lot, 1,014 of you right now here live on YouTube, that's what I do. That's what I do best, okay? I couldn't do commentating, because you've got to be really concise and not get caught. And you're, this is happening. But testing, 90% waffle, easy, mate. Easy paycheck. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see with Ferrari. Slightly less optimistic than I was before testing, though. I've got to be honest. And then McLaren. McLaren, Formula One team, particularly with Lando at the wheel, looked very, very impressive in this test session. Very good after day one. I mean, it does look, the consensus is that they have the best package, right? Very, very impressive race simulation on day two. Again, lapping over 30 seconds clear over that full stint of Leclerc and Antonelli. No surprises, according to Lando. That's what he said. He seemed to, again, have those headline times over Oscar. Big changes, extreme anti-dive going on with that McLaren. But it seems so far to have worked. Andre, I do like the blue side mirrors. Andre, take that back. I mean, I guess you got a bit of blue in the chrome logo, so it could be worse. Yeah, look, I mean, it's looking good. It's looking good for McLaren. It's very much in McLaren's best interest to try and play this down, but it is looking very, very promising. I think I'm still live, but it's just done it again, where it's like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. And it reloads, whatever. We're still live. Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking very good. McLaren fans, you should be excited. And I think that Lando is looking like, from what we've seen in testing, has definitely been the stronger of the two drivers. Now, will that last over 24 Grand Prix? Will that McLaren advantage last? Will Oscar stand up? We'll see. We'll see. But it feels like advantage Lando, advantage McLaren right now. Williams are looking good. Alpine are looking decent. Sauber are looking rubbish. It's kind of the lie of the land there, really. Cautiously optimistic. Well, look, let's take. We've been live for just over an hour. Any questions, chat? Specific things that Piastri to beat Lando, then Lando to take Alonso's seat in 2024. Lawrence, blimey, that is. I'll have whatever you're having, Lawrence. It's Lando's to win. I can't lie. Yeah, no, it does feel like it's advantage McLaren. It's 24 races. Remember. It's just so interesting this year because you're going to have these first 9 Grand Prix with the Flexi Wings and then the remaining 15 Grand Prix with a third. Basically, the load tests are going to be tightened up by a third, essentially. So how is that going to change things? It will change things. We can see, like, going into Turn 1 on the Red Bull and the Aston, I saw some clips, some big flexing on the wings. Look, personally, I just think, why, like, if your car passes a static load test, it's legal, and then you crack on. And if you can achieve stuff outside the static load test, then you're fine. Carbon fibre has to flex, otherwise it would be too brittle and it'd break. Every single wing flexes somewhat. It has to. That's the physics. So I don't know why. I mean, who knows why they've changed it? Maybe it's because Red Bull lobbied to get it changed. I don't know. Who knows, right? I mean, maybe it's a similar thing to the Mercedes floor changes going into 2021. I wouldn't be surprised. I think possibly the FIA, Formula One have seen the potential scampering away of McLaren, and particularly McLaren, maybe Ferrari as well, into the distance, and want to kind of hold them back a bit and make it a bit more interesting in this final year by just kind of changing the flexi rules mid-season. I can't see many other reasons to do it, to be honest. It's a shame, when, like, you'd have thought they'd have got... No, you wouldn't have thought, because of course not. But it would have been nice to get a statement as to, right, well, actually, we're going to do it because blank. I'm not going to do it, But I don't know. Emmy, you saw the Hill documentary last night, and it's great watch. Just some F1 content to tide you over until DTS next week. I didn't even know there was a... Is that a Graham Hill, Damon Hill documentary? I didn't know that was a thing. I might have to check that out, definitely. Yeah, because we've got a little bit of a break now between, obviously, the first race in Australia, DTS. Definitely... I mean, I definitely need a bit of time off. Like, this week's been crazy with videos because... Get in the zone, get in the livery zone, right? These Photoshop maps are like brain emblazoned onto my brain right now. All right, Indy weekend, true, IndyCar, yes. Seen the Drive to Survive trailer? I have, Ella. Yeah, I think. Look, listen. I like DTS. It's a interesting season recap, and some of it's a bit dramatized. I don't really care. It's not really for me, but what I like is the little nuggets that they get of, like, quotes from people. That's interesting. I know a lot of it's dramatized, but I take it for what it is. I'm not expecting a full season review, If I wanted one of them, I'd go to actually see, like Sky Sports do a full season review, you know what I mean? So I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. It will be fun. You haven't watched DTS at all, Andre? I think you know what? I think I think DTS, because first year DTS was 2018, I want to say. I think. 2018. That would be quite fun to watch now. So, oh yeah, 2018. Ricardo, Verstappen crashing into each other. Like, that would actually be quite fun to watch now, you know? I don't watch it as a documentary, more of a reality show. Yes, exactly, later. Exactly. Reality TV show, definitely. That's reality TV show's fun. Am I changing my predictions? No, Yash. I've locked my predictions in, and I'm sticking to them. I'm not going to change them. It's part of the fun, right? It's part of the fun. Predict how things. I mean, predictions for 26 are going to be chaos, because that is literally just. I feel like predictions for 2026. I'm going to have to wait until testing's done, because there's just nothing to go on. So until we've seen some testing, I think then, all right, at least somewhat educate my opinion. Because otherwise I'm just literally just completely guessing, and I've not got any logic to go off, and that's not interesting to me. Like, what's interesting to me is to try and look at the information we have, and obviously I'm looking at the end of last season, and I wouldn't change my. I mean, I maybe put McLaren ahead of Ferrari in the. I think I put McLaren at top of constructors anyway, didn't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Just go off vibes. Alonso World Drivers' Championship. Imagine. Yeah, so sometimes I wait till after testing, but this year I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna chuck it out beforehand. Behrman or Ocon. Well, look, I predicted Behrman ahead. In my predictions, I think it's going to be tight, and I said that as well. I think it's going to be tight between them. But I'm happy to stick with Ollie though. My prediction, to be honest. Why should Aston Martin, Sauber / Audi worry about 25? Well, it's just a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Like, come on. These brands want to be perceived as top performers, and I think it's a shame that they're just kind of like meandering through this last season. And that's why the Audi logo's on. Trust me, if that Sauber was great, that Audi logo would be on it. But it's not. So, of course, they're not going to put it on it. They're going to distance themselves as much as possible. But yeah, I do think I need to do... I'm going to do... F1 put a handy little graphic together of all the driver helmets. So I might just do a little simple, easy edit video of like ranking the driver helmets, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure beyond this live stream today. I haven't really got a plan, because I've just been so locked in with the deliveries that I need a bit of a recharge. I love the new Lewis helmet. Lewis helmet's decent. Yeah, I reckon like a tier list will probably do the trick for that, I think. You know what? I love Alex's colour palette, but I don't like it as much as I have in the past. I think he's made it a bit complicated now. I think he's made it a little bit complicated with the design, but I still really like it. It's just I don't love it as much as I used to. CJ, what did I win the big trophy for? That is my 24-hour Buckmore Park winner rookie class trophy. One and done. 24-hour race, won it, left, never again. Nico Rosberg. You feel we're from the same ends. That's not good, Fiddle. That's not what you want to hear. Right, cool. I reckon I'm done. That's an hour 12 minutes. I think we've made good time. I think we've had a good chat about everything and anything 2025. Thank you for watching this stream. Thank you for liking it, and thank you for subscribing to the channel. I'm sure you've done it already, but I'm just double checking just to make sure. Go and watch my Liam Lawson video. Go and watch my video with Liam Lawson. Go and watch all my livery redesigns. I've made a bunch of content, right? And you can just binge all of it. And that'll probably... I reckon if you watched all of it, that's like 2 hours, maybe. I don't know. Each video was about 8-9 minutes on average. I did 10, so that's 90. And then the Liam video is about 12 minutes. Yeah, so about an hour 45, I reckon, of content you have just in the last week. All right? So go and binge it. All right? Go and binge it. Thank you all for coming. Brandon, IBK, CJ, Andre Dawood. Mind Mission, J-Pro, Joe, Tom, Yash, CJ, Halita, Ben, Yaramir, IBK, Phonebox. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you all taking the time. My name's Tomo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.